Hey there hunters, Lord here, back with another Monster Hunter Wilds video. Very early this morning, for me at least here on the east coast of the US, Title Update 2 was finally released, and with it we got some brand new armor sets, weapons, skills, and a bunch of other stuff to talk about. So I wanted to go ahead and do a sort of all-encompassing video with everything that I have found and tested, so that way you guys know what to expect with Title Update 2. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into the video. So like I said, Title Update 2 dropped a little bit after midnight my time. I have pulled a complete all-nighter. I streamed for about 4 hours and then I farmed in order to be able to test all these different things and showcase all the armors and weapons for you guys. So if you do find today's video helpful, be sure to drop a like down below to help support the channel completely for free. I put in a lot of effort to make sure that not only was this video done quickly for you guys, all the information here is as accurate as I could make it. So let's go ahead and get the brand new armors out of the way. Up first, we have the Seregios Alpha. Comes with 5 levels of Adrenaline Rush, 4 levels of Evade Window, 3 to Agitator and Bleed Resistance, 2 to Counter Strike, and 1 to Evade Extender. The beta set also has Adrenaline Rush level 5 and Agitator 3. It also has Evade Window 3 and only Bleed Resistance at level 1. The group skill is Adrenaline, which is basically heroics for stamina, but the set bonus skill comes in a 2 and 4 piece. This again is very similar to a lot of the trends we've seen here in Monster Hunter Wilds. So with 2 pieces of Seregios armor, you get Razor's Edge level 1. This extends the duration of Adrenaline Rush, taking it from 30 to 45 seconds, and then it allows you to reactivate it once during those 45 seconds. And if you manage to do so, you gain an additional 15 seconds up to a maximum of 1 minute. Now, previously, once you had activated Adrenaline Rush, you could not reactivate it until it had run out its 45-second timer. But now you can add an additional 15 seconds and reactivate it using Razor's Edge 1. And with 4 pieces, we can see it increases the damage, the same duration, but it goes from plus 30 damage at level 5 to plus 40 damage at level 5 once you reactivate the skill. So if you only activate it once and don't manage to dodge again during that 45 seconds, you won't go from that plus 30 to plus 40, you'll stay at plus 30. However, you have 45 seconds to get a second dodge in, and if you manage to perfectly evade an attack, it'll go from 30 to 40 raw, which is a 33% increase on this skill. So not meta-defining, but actually pretty good if this is a playstyle you enjoy. We then have the Lagiacrus Alpha. Comes with Weakness Exploit at level 5, then Max Might, Thunder Resistance, and Stamina Surge at level 3, Latent Power, and Aquatic Mobility at level 2. The beta set also comes with 5 Wex and 3 Max Might, 3 Stamina Surge, and 1 Latent Power. I actually really like the helmet and waist from this. Again, they're probably not the most meta-defining pieces, but they're extremely efficient and come with some nice skills and could definitely find their way into some mixed sets. As far as the group skills go, with 3 pieces you get Affinity Sliding. No one really gives a crap about that, but the new set bonus is called Azure Bolt, and by having 2 or 4 pieces, again, similar to Seregios and a lot of the other armors we've seen so far here in Monster Hunter Wilds, you will get differing levels of ability. So with the 2-piece Lagiacrus bonus, you get plus 15% affinity for 20 seconds once the skill activates. You will see something along the lines of Azure Bolt can be activated, then you can attack the monster and it basically builds up a charge, and then you deal a burst of thunder damage. I tested this with Sword and Shield and it did 51 damage on that single burst. Again, the 15% affinity then after that burst lasted for 20 seconds. And then with the 4-piece, all it does is increase the amount of that burst damage and increase the length of time that 15% affinity lasts. So just to reiterate, it is still plus 15% affinity with the 4-piece set bonus, but instead of lasting 20 seconds, it now lasts about 30 seconds. And upon activating that burst of thunder damage, it did 122, so a little more than double. Overall, though, I don't think this skill is very good or worth building around. However, we do have some pretty good armor pieces, so we'll take what we can get. Up next, we have the brand new weapon skills. So on Lagiacrus weapons, we get Convert Thunder Resistance. So what this skill does is it increases your weapon's elemental attack proportional to your thunder resistance. So of course, since this is on the Lagiacrus weapons, this is only going to be usable on, of course, those Lagiacrus Thunder weapons. So you're going to be going against something that is Thunder weak. So bringing armor with super high Thunder resistance isn't really the best play. You're going to get a lot more out of going for Thunder attack up out of your decorations or charm or what have you. But I did go ahead and test this. There's no penalty for negative Thunder resistance, so I went ahead and tested this with the Sword and Shield. Starts out at 300 element, so with 0 Thunder resistance, we have 300 element. With 4 Thunder resistance, we went up to 316. With 8, it was 332. With 12, 348. With 16, it went up to 364, and with 20, it went up to 380. So it's safe to say that every 1 Thunder resistance you have is plus 4 Thunder attack to your weapon. Again, it's not a ton. You're probably going to get more mileage out of running something else and using Thunder attack up the skill itself, as well as something like Coalescence or another elemental boosting skill. This really isn't that good because, again, if you're bringing a Thunder weapon against something that is Thunder weak, it's not going to be dealing Thunder damage, so having super high Thunder resistance is kind of pointless. It's unique for sure, but I feel like it's just a little contradictory, so really it's just kind of meh, like who cares, right? Like, all that aside, on the Seregios weapons, we have 3 different weapon skills. So starting with the ranged weapon skills, the bowguns and bow have blade scale loading. So when you perfectly dodge an attack, you will gain 3 extra shots or coatings, and you get way more damage for those 3 shots. On the bow guns, it was about 40% more damage, and on bow's close range coatings, it was about 25% more damage, give or take a few percentages. But something important to note is that only certain ammos on the Seregios bowguns can be considered, quote, blade scale, as you see in this picture in the bottom right here. Only some of these ammos get the actual blade scale boost. But by dodging with any of them loaded, you can swap to a different one and have that plus 3. And those 3 will do about 40% more damage than their non-blade scale counterpart. We then have evading reload, and this only comes on the bow guns, and it gives you 1 ammo in your clip per evade. So any dodge or quick step with a light bow gun, or your little shuffle step or full roll with a heavy bow gun gives you 1 ammo back in your clip. However, burst stepping in rapid fire mode with light bow gun does not give you extra ammo, otherwise you'd just be kind of infinitely reloading. So it does have to be an actual dodge action for light bow gun. And then finally, on all the Seregios melee weapons, we get blade scale honing, and so when you perfectly dodge through an attack, it gives you 5 hits of a special sharpness gauge. It's basically purple sharpness, so I went ahead and tested this with the Seregios Greatsword. On blue sharpness, an uncharged single hit overhead slash was doing 161 damage. White sharpness, it was doing 177. And after perfectly dodging through an attack on the training dummy with no armor equipped to make sure that adrenaline rush wasn't messing with my numbers, the special sharpness, you can see it up here in the top left, it covers your sharpness bar. It was dealing 188 damage. So it's roughly 6% more damage than white sharpness, and that's actually pretty solid overall. I mean, it's kind of like a pseudo purple sharpness, however, you only get 5 hits with it. And that was just on Greatsword. Some of the other weapons may or may not have more. I really just didn't have the time to test them all. Once I get around to it, I'll be sure to drop something down in the pinned comment below with any further findings. Like if Dual Blades gets 20 units and Sword and Shield gets 10 and then Longsword gets 10 or something like that, I'll be sure to let you guys know down below. But basically, honestly, it's pretty good going to have this pseudo purple sharpness by just dodging through attacks. I mean, just throw some evade window in your other sets and you're going to be looking at some pretty decent damage. Now, is this going to be meta defining? I don't know. Haven't had a chance to play around with it yet. But I'll definitely be giving this a look because having a sharpness that is better than white sharpness at this stage in the game already could have some pretty, at least fun implications in Monster Hunter Wilds, even if it's not entirely meta. Alright, so that is it for all of the new skills and what they do as far as my testing goes. I spent quite a few hours after my stream this morning testing all of these out. Again, if anything is a little off or changes, or if it gets data mined and I'm off by a couple percentages. Monster Hunter is notoriously bad at rounding values, so I might be off by a few percentages here or there, but if I have any corrections at all to this video, again, I will drop them in the pinned comment down below. So now, if you do want to stick around, I will be showcasing all 14 weapons and the armor from Seregios and Lagiacrus. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, this will be that portion of the video. But otherwise, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more Monster Hunter content just like this. Wish you all a good day and happy hunting.